Great, welcome in. Hey everyone, John here, staff software engineer and lead maintainer of Latterly.io, an open source education and social networking platform that can help you learn to code and land your first or next programming role. It's going to walk you through things like building your portfolio and job search techniques, which a lot of other courses will miss. I'm also seeing, looking at this page, I'm seeing a UX improvement that's just like jumping out to me today for some reason. I should probably take these dollars and stick them in the top right, and I think that would be a better use of the real estate there. Okay, we'll do that too. Why not? The main thing we're going to work today is a perks feature. This is issue number 338. I'll also add a UX improvement because I'm bad, so I'm mixing user stories. But it's my project, so I don't care. So what's a perks feature? A perks feature is a discount code so that users can get a discount. Move dollar to upper right to save real estate. And an example would be jointaro.com, really great website, recommend them. And so basically I'm going to do something like this. Let's get into it. I'll be implementing this on the front end side. There will be no database work. This is going to be a front end stream. We are using Next, which is a full stack framework. The application, the repository, if you clone it down, it's a full stack repository. But we will not need to do full stack work. We'll not need to do full stack work in this stream. Okay. I'll open up the folder path. This is a multi-root setup, so I have two projects in here. We're going over to both the Blitz app and the T3 Stack app. So this is a monorepo. If you've been following the channel, I'm migrating from Blitz to T3, but the production site is still using that Blitz folder, the Blitz app folder. So we'll be implementing it in two places. So I'll start over here, source app. We will make a new folder. Oh, let me make sure that I'm on the right branch first. Git checkout-b init perk page, perks page. Cool, we're on there. Fetch origin. Okay, cool. So that is the most recent commit that I expect on main. So we're up to the tip of the tree. We'll have no conflicts at pull request time or anything like that. So we're using Next.js in the app directory. So I'll make a new folder, which is called pages, or sorry, perks. And then I'll make a page.tsx under there. That is the convention in this framework. Now I'm going to leverage the custom instructions that we built in a recent stream. Python scripts. So I just have it in the T3 side of the house. So the T3 side of the house under the Latterly.io scripts Python, okay? That's the virtual environment. Where's the other stuff? Huh, I'm missing my scripts somehow. Let's see, where did they go? I'm going to check my Git history. It's the thing we love about having Git history, right? Pull requests, it's over here, it's closed. Better T3 auth. In this commit chain, refresh session after login. from December 5th. I'm missing some stuff. Oh man, I might have lost it. That's crazy. Git branch. Init custom instructions. Did I never pull this branch? So let me git check out this. So let's try to make a new pull request. Maybe I never pulled this branch. Custom instructions, 338, init custom instructions. Migrate scripts, a bunch of stuff here. I think I made this branch and I never pulled it. Oh well. So let's pull it now. All right, so it's been previously pushed, and it looks like when I pushed, Vercel checked the build anyway. So the build has been working, even though I never pulled it. We'll wait for this to pass. This is just a notify Discord bot. Okay, fine. So there, everything is passing. That's crazy. I didn't actually merge this. I'm just going to double check the changes really quick. Extensions looks good. I changed my git ignore to ignore the venv. I bumped the minor or the patch version. Yeah, this is everything that I did. I moved the scripts under T3. So there's scripts. Good. Okay. All right, so now we will reset on origin main. And now I have the custom instructions. And I'll check out that perks branch that I made. Publish this new branch, but there's no changes on it yet. That's okay. We'll go ahead and get the pull request up. I'll just leave this page up. Okay, so now we'll go make a, and now I have my scripts, including the Copilot instructions. This is what I'm looking for. And now I will make the perks page. I'll go ahead and prime ChatGPT. I'll use the O4 model so that I can ask it to use the search tool. It can actually search the web if needed. So it's got the initial instructions, it's ready to go, but I don't need its help just yet. I'm in the Blitz app, source app, perks here, this is still here. Okay, great. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy the privacy policy page and then mess up the content so that I can tell that it's like the new page. Instead of title privacy policy, we'll use the title perks. Laterally perks. H2, earn a discount at recommended with recommended partners. Cool. Now I'm changing my working directory to the Blitz app, and I'll npm run dev. Let's check out localhost. Welcome in, everyone. 2 likes on the video. Let's see if we can do some more than that, huh? So how do I get to perks? I'll just type /perks for now. And it's forwarded me away from the perks page, so it's not being recognized for some reason. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on there. Oh, because the page name is a duplicate. The page name is duplicate, which creates issues in the compiler. So I'll change the name to be called perks page. And here we go. So this is just like a hello world of the page, just setting up the page. This is feat init perks page. I'll commit and push that. Now I will tell GPT-4. Another reason to use GPT-4 instead of O1. I think O1 has changed this, by the way. Let's go check. I can do image upload. So if I go to O1, I think this is part of the OpenAI launch week. That they enabled O1 to have images. I'll say, yeah, it's already, I'm not even going to go ahead and use it. But cool to know that with O1, I can use the image upload as well. So over time, instead of using 4.0, we can move to O1. But you see search is unavailable. So for now, I'm going to continue to use GPT 4.0, although arguably in this use case, I don't really need to do a web search. I'll just go along with it. I think it's going to be good enough anyway. So I would like to develop a perks page feature where end users can access a discount code on recommended products. This is a UI-only implementation. Each perk component should have a title, some text about the perk, a discount code, and a link to the partner site. I've attached an example perks page feature from another website to give you an example of the look and feel of this page. Okay. Some initial code is below. Please revise it appropriately. I'll wipe out a lot of this. A lot of this is not necessary. Cool, so we're down to 23 lines. Pretty simple page component here. I'll annotate the code block with TSX. And let's let GPT take care of that boilerplate magic. Brandon says, what's the difference between GPT and EBT? I think that's a joke, but GPT is a transformer language model. EBT is a government program to provide benefits to people who want to pay for groceries, if I'm not mistaken. So we can see some good things. We can see GPT retains style in the page wrapper. It creates a perk interface, which looks good. Constant UI perks, it's recommending neat code. So it's taking that from the Taro example, right? And then here is the perks page with a perk card. And so it's created this perk card, which is exactly what I want. I think it's fine to include this perks card in this page itself. Other people might want you to separate that into a different file. I don't think it matters because it's currently tightly coupled, and it's tightly coupled in the foreseeable future. It's tightly coupled to this page. So I think it's fine to have it in here. And later, we can always move it out of the file if we need to. So I'll copy this code. AVS, control AVS. Let's go see what we got. So the look here does not look good, right? The look here does not look good. I think the main solution here will be to have a wider page. So this min H is not coming, I don't think. Yeah, it's not coming from ChatGPT. It's coming from the page defaults. It's in the large card component. So I have a couple options. I can change the large card component to enable a wider card, or I can forego using the card component in this page. The main benefit of the card component is that it provides a high contrast overlay over the background. You can see this background has like a purple gradient, where if I drop it, this stuff might be harder to read. Let's just try dropping it. So I'll comment this for now. Obviously, I'm not going to commit it, comment it. If I decide to remove it permanently, I'll delete it. So here's how it looks without the large card. This looks better. And I think it's okay in terms of the contrast readability because each perk card has its own contrast, its own like border radius and white background. So I don't need to worry about the light gray text being hard to read over that purplish color. Still, I definitely want some gutters along the side of the page, but I can add that to this page itself. And I'll just continue to rip off Taro. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. In programming, it's a superpower to be able to refer to external projects and leverage their practices. So I think having the centered heading and subheading, it works for me. It works for me. I do want to add gutters. Let's see. It looks like they're using maybe 2/3 of the page or 3/4 of the page. So I'll, instead of using the large card, we'll go ahead with the idea that we remove this large card. And I'll just add a div here. Oh, the end tag should go after the close of the H2. Okay. So now we've got that centered heading. I'll do some top margin, but it's looking pretty good. And I want to add gutters around the rest of the page. So over here, 100 VH. Is totally unnecessary. This is talking about the height of the page. I want to deal with the width of the page. So we go back to this large card. Is there anything around the width? No, I don't see it. I want to do a max width here. Excuse me. Let's add a max width to this div such that it uses 2/3 of the page width. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. If you think the video is interesting so far, consider tapping the like button. Your mom, hi, what are you making? We are making a perks feature similar to the Taro perks, but we're adding this to the Latterly website. So I'll add a link as well up here. Okay, and I don't want to take all this stuff. I will just take the width bit. And it hasn't done this. It hasn't accomplished this. Oh, well, because I copied the wrong section. Okay. There we go. I can see the max W2XL. And I'm leveraging GPT to help me look up that Tailwind syntax, which wasn't on top of my head. It wasn't available just from rote memory. Okay, so this does seem to be too constraining. So here we'll just tinker with the size. So instead of 2/3, maybe I want to do 3/4, or maybe I want to do 4/5. So 80%, 80%. And here, this is the whole home container. It doesn't look to be taking up 80% to me, huh? Okay, because we are using the grid approach. So we need to change the grid. I would like the perk cards to use 80% of the width of the page. Because of the grid style, the cards do not take up 80% of their container. Remove and update so the cards handle the width. I phrased that poorly. We'll see if it can understand what I'm trying to say or not. Why ChatGPT and not Claude? I know like no one in my team using GPT. So GPT has the ability to upload an image. I think Claude does too. GPT also has the ability to consult web search if needed. Now, I probably could use Claude. So in many of the cases, like lots of models can do the task. So it doesn't matter too much. It doesn't matter too much. So here's a width 80%. All right, so we've changed added an additional wrapper around the perk card. I think this won't solve the issue. Yeah, this won't solve the issue. Let me try to get rid of this bit here. Shane, thanks for the follow. Okay, that's looking better, huh? That's looking like about what I want. Do I need the grid stuff like at all? This is good. So it's saying let there be 3 on a large screen and let there be 2 on the medium screen. Okay, let's see how this thing resizes. Pops down, looking good. Eventually pop. This looks pretty good. You could split hairs and like maybe make it a little better, but I think it looks pretty good already. Given this approach, do I need the 80% then? Probably not. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so these max widths on the parent, we'll remove them. And I no longer need that container there. I just need, what do I need? Some margin between them. Seems to be just fine to me. So then I'll add some padding or outer margin around the parent. But I don't need to constrain the width. I can just use margin and padding. Let's see. Let's try padding. PX2. That went for 10. That was more than I was thinking, but let's see. That looks pretty good. That PX10 looks pretty good. Okay. I'm happy with this. Do you know what an ERD is? Yep. Good database diagram. So here we are dealing with front-end work, so I don't really need an ERD. You could do something like an ERD for a UI, like information architecture. Totally not necessary for this, though. I'm just making a single page. No need to build an architecture of the whole site. All right, this looks good. Let's do some top margin. Also, the H2 doesn't need that much margin top. So let's take this down to an empty. Let's get rid of the empty and see what happens. I think it looks fine with 0 margin top. I think that looks fine for the subheading. And then for this main heading, maybe add a 4. Pretty arbitrary. We're just seeing what looks good to us. I think that looks good to me. Just wanted to bring it down so it's not touching that nav bar. Have you heard of market basket analysis? Yeah, hey, chill guy, what's up? Good to see you again. Market basket analysis, like for determining the inflation rate, would be one example. Is that what you're referring to? Or are you talking about like a basket of stocks on the market? Basket analysis is really important. Do it all the time. It's super important. When you think about how you allocate your time, that's a basket analysis. You wouldn't really call that a market basket analysis, but anyway. Love Tailwind. Yeah, we love to see it, right? Thanks so much for being... Oh, over 750 likes. Thank y'all so much. They add up so quickly. So I think this completes the page for now. I'll push this. I won't bring you through the tedium of adding the other discounts. I'll do that offline. And then I'll also take care of the tedium of replicating to the T3 site. I'll take that offline. One thing that I do want to do on the current stream is make sure that the link is there. So here we're on the homepage. How do I get to my perks? I'll add a link adjacent to blog. Just won't overthink it. That might not be an optimal design, but it's easy and it's portable. Given that I'm in the middle of this migration, I think it's a really good way to go. So top nav in the Blitz site, here's the top nav. And we'll go into the right section of the top nav. Here's blog. I'll add one more link, and this will go to perks. We'll say perks. Make sure that it's in the right location. Just to the left of the blog, yeah? So now I can easily navigate to perks. What backend language do you use in DB? Do you think having an econ PhD helps you in the market? Absolutely. It absolutely helps. Now, does that mean I recommend it for everyone? No. But it does help me stand out from other candidates for sure. Postgres or Firebase? I'm using Postgres on Supabase, database as a service. Backend language using Node, TypeScript, Prisma ORM. Good questions. Thank you so much. Let's get a W in the chat if you want me to hang on just to answer questions. At this point, the stream is concluded, by the way. So I'll hang out for just 10 more seconds. If I get a couple W's, I'll hang out. Otherwise, good to see you. Oh, we've got one. Let me get one more. I see some questions rolling in. Let me get one more W if you want me to hang on to answer those questions. In the meantime, I'll commit this link. Cool, thank you so much. Okay, so let's just turn this into a bit of a kind of like an open dialogue. So I see some questions rolling in on TikTok. Thanks to everyone on the Kick stream. Thanks for being here. I see some viewers, but I don't see any Kick questions. All right, so let's go through these questions that I'm thinking. Thoughts on AWS cloud computing? I think it's really great. I worked at AWS. I was a cloud engineer. The value that AWS provides to enterprise is huge. Super, super great tool for enterprise. For a hobby developer, for a side project, I don't think it's an optimal developer experience. And I really worry about how easy it is for an early career programmer that's not an AWS expert to overrun the free tier and end up charged with a large bill unexpectedly. I really worry about that. And for that reason, I don't recommend AWS to entry-level developers. But once you already have a job, once you're on the job using AWS, really smart thing to do. I went and got my AWS Solutions Architect certification years ago, and it helped me in my career. I think that's an excellent mid-level move. Now, there are other cloud providers, so GCP is a good one, Azure is a good one. I think it is smart to get a cert in one of these. I don't think you need to do all of them. So, like I said, I got the AWS Solutions Architect certification. You learn about the primitives like a Lambda, a function as a service, and there are equivalent cloud native primitives for basically every provider. You're gonna have cloud functions. And so as long as you understand the architecture, I don't think you need to get certified in all of these, but getting one of them when you're an intermediate level developer and you're going towards senior, very, very smart thing to do. How do you stay away from cross-site scripting attacks? So the main way that I stay away from anything like security vulnerabilities, like a SQL injection as well, is I'm going to lean on secure libraries. And I want to take advantage of an ORM like Prisma, which is going to be able to write your SQL for you in such a way that it guards against injection. Cross-site scripting, and I also have a CSRF token. So pretty difficult to cross-site attack somebody when a CSRF token is in use. Is pen testing a hard field to find a job? That's a good question. I think the answer is yes. We can look it up. You can just go to Indeed.com. But I do think it's a niche, right? So let's look up pen test. 100+ jobs. And maybe we look up pen tester. Look across the United States, 300 jobs. So add them together. That's probably not fair because there's probably duplication under those queries. But we're looking at the order of hundreds of jobs in the US, which seems correct to me. And then let's go contrast that with JavaScript. Looking on the order of tens of thousands, web developer, over 10,000. What else? Node.js, Python, tens of thousands. So you're looking at like a 3 order of magnitude difference between the availability of pen testing roles and web development roles. That doesn't mean that web development is better. It just means that, first of all, web development is going to get easier to get into. There's more opportunities, and it's a lower risk. It's a lower risk, and it's a shorter job search. So if you are already a happily employed mid-level, going into a specialized role is a smart move at that point, but do anticipate a longer job search until you've acquired experience and you can say on your resume, like, hey, I'm already a pen tester. Then employers it'll be easier to land the next pen testing role after you have pen test experience, right? And that's a general thing with specialized roles in general. So start general, specialize later. I don't recommend, I've never been a programmer, but I'm going to dive into a deeply niched field. I don't recommend that. Does that make sense? Very helpful. Thanks. I'm going to follow. Thank you for being here. Great question. Do you know about C#? Is it harder than Java? I am not an expert in C#. If you want an expert in C#, you should check out DevLeader. DevLeader, highly recommend this guy. He is a principal at Microsoft. He teaches on C#. I've done a podcast with him. Really great guy. Smart. And he is also a founder, co-founder, CTO, I don't know, something. He's in a leadership role with, what is this thing called? Brandghost.ai, who is a partner of the site, and that will be one of the perks that I'll be adding to the website. So check out after the perks ship and I replace the boilerplate with the real values, that'll be happening in the next few days. Keep an eye on the website. And you can check out brandghost.ai. I highly recommend this tool. By the way, there's my discount code if you want 10% off. And then there's a kickback that goes to supporting the Latterly community, and that's heavily appreciated. Now, given that I have not worked as a professional in C#, but I know these people that have, and I've talked to them, and given that I have worked as a professional in a Java development environment, so I know on that side, the thing that I typically hear is that they're roughly equivalent in terms of complexity. I've heard C# called Microsoft Java, like Microsoft's version of Java. So the amateur perspective here, or the sort of intermediate level familiarity perspective here is, I think you'd be approximately fine either way. That's in terms of the language difficulty itself, like the learning curve. Now, when you talk about job opportunities, that is a different question. If hard means hard to get a job, you can just go to Indeed. Don't have to take my word for it. So C#, here's 23K plus jobs. Java, looking at 35K plus jobs. So on the one hand, you could say there's a 50% job opportunity differential. I think that's a fair point. But on the other hand, they're both on the order of tens of thousands of jobs. So you can get a job with either. I do think a couple things that I'll call out here. Even though you can get a job with either, the kind of job that you get will vary. So C# is going to be used more often in the Microsoft and Windows ecosystems. Okay? So if you have a repulsion to Microsoft, just careful what you wish for. Because if you want a C# job and you get one, you may be knee deep in the Microsoft Windows world. So just know that going in. I think C# is also used more than Java in game development. And then third, really, really important thing that I want to mention, Java is a very large ecosystem which goes beyond Java itself. So the JVM, the entire series of languages that leverage the Java virtual machine, is going to include Kotlin, Scala, and more. I love Kotlin. I love me some Kotlin. Now, there's not a ton of Kotlin jobs, right? So we're niching. So I would not recommend to a junior to go try to dive into Kotlin. But it's something to consider. The main point that I would ask you to consider, not only does Java natively have more roles, but you also want to count Kotlin and Scala perhaps, because these are job opportunities that would be open to you. Xord says, Java and C# developer here. They are very similar, but I use C# more. Thank you for your perspective. Thanks for being here, by the way. He says, choose your poison, Microsoft or Oracle. There you go. There you go. So I think I'm exactly on the same page with you. So they're both going to work. They're just putting you in different places, right? What makes companies lean toward Java over C#? And if you had to speculate or guess, I think Java is more popular. Yeah, I think the operating system, like basically these are remnants of legacy implementations. So Oracle got really popular and everyone was using the Oracle database years ago. That's less the case today. Although Oracle databases are still popular in enterprise, but more often you're going to see cloud native databases, RDS, and open source alternatives like Postgres, which yours truly is a huge fan of. So Oracle has lost their market share compared to years ago. Still, they grew in influence, and many people adopted Java for that reason. And similar with Windows. They just grew in different use cases in different domains. So again, Microsoft and Windows, if a company is building a Windows product, I would expect that they will, and I don't have a research paper on this, but I would expect that they will be more likely to be using C#. Didi, thank you for the follow. The pricing for Oracle is ridiculous. And this is from the same individual, XSword, who said that they are a Java and C# developer. Look, I agree with you. The Oracle database today, it's just not my tool of choice. There are niche use cases where performance and throughput is really important. In a particular architecture, it has its role. It's not a useless DB. But most of the time, you don't need it, and it's overpriced. That's true most of the time. Totally agree. Swee, thanks for the follow. Great username, by the way. I wonder how early did you have to register on the site to grab that username? Code Editor on YouTube, thanks for being here. Any advice to get into ML AI? My main advice is to get a graduate degree. Lots of people think you can just jump into ML. You can go to a coding boot camp and get an AI role. It's possible. It's not impossible. It's much harder than doing the similar thing with web development. And so in the ML AI space, many people will have a PhD where they've used advanced statistics of some kind. Obviously, if it's a computer science or like an actual AI degree, that's most relevant. But me, I have a PhD in economics, and I did use econometrics, which is a form of statistics. And so I ended up touching Python code. I ended up touching stats model and some of these adjacent libraries. And I currently work as a staff software engineer in generative AI. I could get a pure AI role if I want to. So that's been my path. And then some of the stepping stones here would be that you might go data analyst, data engineer, data scientist. So another way that you can get in here, besides going the graduate degree route, you can go the software engineer route and then specialize from software engineer to data engineer. And then from data engineering, you can go ML AI from there using your professional experience as your track record instead of an advanced degree. Now, if I am Meta, if I am Google, and I have my choice of the job candidates, try to put yourself in the employer's shoes. They're still going to prefer the candidate that has both data engineering background and a PhD or a graduate degree, a master's, say, and a relevant portfolio. So if you can check off 3 of these boxes, I think you have a very good chance of, I hesitate to use the word easy, but I think you would be extremely most attractive to employers. So think about this in terms of a statistical mental model, a probability mental model, a return on investment mental model, that you could just go to a boot camp and there will be some probability over some period of time with some amount of effort that you can go directly into AI. It's happened. Plenty of people have done it. But every step that you add along this path to make you more attractive to employers, the length of your job search is going to shrink, the number of employers willing to hire you is going to increase, the salary you can command will increase. So you could do any one of these things: portfolio, bootcamp, advanced degree. You could pick 1 or 2 or even 3. Choose as many as you want and just expect that those will impact the difficulty of your job search. Does that make sense? Thank you for the question. Back over to TikTok. Chill Guy says, do you know about R and R squared? Absolutely. The ability of the model to explain the data. R squared is a core concept. A core concept, and frankly, as someone with a background in economics, I think a lot of today's black box ML engineers forget about the importance of explainability. The best AI data scientists are aware of it, and they will make a black box model and an explainable model. They'll value both for reasons of like auditability, fairness concerns, and explainability, being able to train and then take that training result. What can I expect when I apply it in the real world? If you have an explainable model, you have a better ability to prepare for that. But I also think that just statistics is a good mental model. Developers are often not trained in the way of probabilistic thinking. So if I'm going to troubleshoot or debug or root cause an issue, very often I can use a deductive mindset. It's somewhere in the code base. I rule out component A. Okay, it's somewhere else in the code base. And you go through this triage approach to debugging, which is a useful mindset. But when you try to open up, so the best engineers are also product managers. And when you try to open up at the senior level, not only the ability to code and debug, but also the ability to make a business case and the ability to strategize about my career and think in this return on investment approach, having a statistical mental model, and in particular, an econometric mental model is hugely valuable. Xord says, by the way, I'm looking for a Salesforce developer and a QA/documentation developer. Awesome. We love it. I highly encourage things like this in the Latterly community. I'll just give another shout out. So you can go to latterly.io for free, sign up, join the Discord there. I love when my platform can serve as a bridge to connect job seekers and those hiring. By the way, under the community, there's a different place you can go, browse all portfolios, and you can see some folks are open to work. So you can make a free profile and then publish that you're open to work here. And I send this to recruiters all the time. A good practice here, when a recruiter reaches out to you, if you're not interested in the role, consider referring someone. Consider passing it on instead of just shutting down that conversation. It can be a win-win. Are you expected to memorize the coding language you are learning, or is it okay to search things up? You are not expected to memorize it or master it, but memorizing some of it is really important for the interview specifically. Are you allowed to look things up will depend on the company. So if you look across the market, if you're saying, am I allowed to look things up ever? The answer is yes. But am I allowed to always look things up? No. And if I look things up, does the interviewer count it against me? Sometimes. On the job, you are expected to look things up every day. But at interview time, it's less acceptable. So what I encourage you to do, I do encourage a memorization-based approach to leak code. A memorization-based approach to solving interview technical coding problems. And by the way, I have a blog article on this. You want to say hi?
Dinner's ready.
Dinner's ready. Give me a hug.
Dinner's ready. Dinner's ready.
Okay, I'll be right up. See you later. The Latterly Leak Code Kata, blog article number 3. This will walk you through my memorization-based approach to the coding interview. But keep in mind, you don't need leak code to get a role. Some companies require it, not all companies. So you can get a role without doing a whiteboard interview. You might have a project-based interview or something like this. All right, thanks all. Thanks for being here. I hope you'll follow the page. As you've just heard, it's my dinner time.